Jim, let's follow up on Wendy's point, because I've heard this quite a bit, the growing frustration that congressional Democrats haven't taken the steps to codify precedents like Griswold, Roe, Obergefell, Lawrence into law. What's your assessment of that?
Well, potentially part of that is knowing that they may not have the support they need to do that in Congress, you know, especially when we want and we need people on the other side of the aisle to stand up for what's right, to stand up for civil and human rights. We can't expect that. And with filibuster rules and everything else in place, could that happen? Would I love to see the House, the Senate propose things to do this? Absolutely. And I think they should be doing that. So I understand the frustration.
It's really frustrating, I guess, for a lot of Democrats, at least the ones I talked to about this, Wendy, because they feel that there are a lot of good messaging opportunities that are being lost. More than what you're doing with Just Vote, what other messages should the Democratic Party be pushing right now to reimagine this conversation around these issues, from Lawrence to Obergefell to Roe?
I think it's incredibly important in moments like this for voters across this country to see Democrats fighting for them. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we'll win. And I think Jim is absolutely right. There are uphill battles ahead on many of these issues. But we can't simply fail to act because we fear that we might not succeed. And if we're going to keep an energized voting base who believes that it's important to elect Democrats because they see Democrats fighting for the things that matter to them in their day-to-day lives, we need to show them exactly that. We will fight for them every day, even in uphill battles that we may not win.
Jim, what adjustments do you think the LGBTQ legal community and the movement surrounding its legal efforts should make at this point to prepare for what possibly comes next after this Roe decision?
You know, we really do need to pressure Congress. If Congress can't come out and propose these bills that actually stand for really important things, family, marriage, children, the ability to control your own body, if we can't get Congress to actually propose things to protect those really vital things, then we really have to go to the state level. We have got to be active in our state level, and that means speaking out at every city council, state legislature, county trustee meeting that we can. Be involved with our elected officials. Tell them what matters to us, what we expect from them, what we need them to do to protect these really vitally important things. Our rights to privacy, our right to love, our right to family should not be subject to an extreme right Supreme Court. And that's what we're experiencing now. And beyond anything else, people have got to vote, and they have to vote in every election and vote for the candidates who most closely mirror your values. Because if we don't have a government and a judiciary that looks like our nation, then we're always going to be fighting a losing battle to protect these rights if we allow gerrymandering and the extreme right to continue controlling what happens in this nation.
Wendy, Jim talks about very passionately about this movement towards action and trying to get the legal and the political aligned on this. How do you speak to young girls, to young women who out there who are scared by the headlines that they're seeing and the feeling that they get that somehow America's changed for them?
You know, I was so struck, Michael, on Friday listening to some of the young women who were just wrenched by this decision. The young woman who was featured throughout the day, who had been standing in front of the Supreme Court and said, "I feel like my country doesn't love me." I hope for young women like her, we can help them understand that they have so much power if they will own it and come forward and use it in the only way that actually brings change about in this country. I've been talking to young people over the course of the last few days about the fact that we didn't get here overnight. We got here because folks on the other side who were disappointed with what happened in Roe versus Wade started fighting from that day forward, and they never gave up. And we've got to bring that same force to bear. I'm heartened by the fact that we have so many young people who have shown up in protests over these last few days, many of them registering their fellow young people to vote. And I feel very inspired and hopeful that they are going to lead the way because they know it's their future that they need to participate in creating.
Gemma Bergefell and Winnie Davis, thank you both for your time and the conversation tonight. We're going to continue this conversation with my panel next.